is a torture chamber of Idd Amin Dada that hosted Anna Marie for the former regimes. The bushy environment around creates an horror, a true signal of the torture chamber. Inside are 5 prison-like rooms used by Idd Amin and Obote for atrocities against people that opposed their regimes.
The place, it had water, and the water was electrified. It had a gate, to make sure no one escapes. And most of the people killed in this place were got within Kampala city. The business center and the suburbs. They used to blindfold them, throw them in the car boots, the saloon cars in their boots, drove them around Kampala for 6 to 7 hours to confuse them. And reaching here, people were already hopeless. So they would use the electrified water in order to extract information out of them. One would switch on and off electricity for a few seconds. Of course, many people died in water. And those who survived, they were put, that was like phase 1. Then they were put in the rooms. Inside we have got 5 rooms which worked as cells. And they used to pack. They used to put men in each room. Eventually they were suffocated and starved to death. Each morning the top officers in the army would come and this time switch off the electricity, walked through this water into the rooms, picking out bodies. And for those who seemed very weak inside the rooms, were again pushed in the same water, this time to make sure they are dead. Bodies from this place were dumped into the Nile River and eaten by the Nile crocodiles. Others in Lake Victoria, they are bigger fish like Nile perch and tilapia.
Despite the dilapidated structure, the strong paint is full of markings that express feelings of those who lost their loved ones.
Now, this is one of the cells, or the rooms that served as cells, and they were poorly ventilated. You can see the vents. After turning this into a cell, they sealed the vents to suffocate people. Each had a sliding door with rails, then the second door on the inside, and here they would pack as many as possible. Or they wanted to see people compete for oxygen in here. There are lots of writings, like at the extreme end, some are right from the prisoners. Someone wrote that Obote onzise naye abana bange, meaning that now that you have killed me, Obote, then what about my children?
The atrocities against people by Amin and Obote II happened between 1973 and 1979.
My name is Shalay Jones, and I come from the United States of America. And here we saw the torture chambers, and where they put water on the ground and then electrocuted people, and it was a lot. It was very sad and very intense. The fact that they would have more than 100 people inside, and it's dark, and people would die here, that's heavy. That usually torturing people is bad, and, we have to, be kind to people and hold people accountable. Yeah.
My name is Sarah Omar. I'm from South Africa. Coming here, looking at the torture chambers, it was a lot, and then hearing what happened here. It was very sad, but it's also, I've heard good things about Idd Amin, and then coming in and seeing this, and then it shows you that there's 2 sides to every person. But as Shalay had said, you do need to hold people accountable for their actions so that this isn't repeated again.
I've seen the torture chambers, and I have learned that that the governments that are ruling in our country should take it into consideration that there is a time for everything. And when they are really taking on their roles as leaders, they should lead the people in such a manner that they will not be able to remember the government for the wrong things, but to remember the government for the good things it has done for them. And the fact that this place has been kept to remind Ugandans that torture does exist, and it is not really necessary in order to perpetuate a government in office.
Fred Ndaula, a tour guide with the Buganda Tourism and Heritage Board, says the chambers initially were Namari, constructed by the Israelis under the directive of Idd Amin in 1971.
This was part of the gate, and the electric cables came from this point, connected in water. The black line on the wall, that was a water line, and the switch, electric switch, was on the other side. But I spoke to one of the structures from Israel, and I remember this old man, when he looked at this, he said, yes, we constructed it, but not knowing that Idd was going to turn this into a torture chamber. He told me that armories are designed in such a way that lorries or trucks reverse. So when you look at the doors, the level, that is the level of the trucks, because lorries would reverse and offload weapons or loading weapons. So it was very easy. But he said that the cables were not part of the initial plan. So if you clearly look at the wall, the plaster on the main wall is different from this part. And he said that Idd put these cables, and this was to torture and kill people in here.
However, when Amin got intelligence that Obote wanted to overthrow him, he turned the armory into torture chambers.
That he killed over 19,000 people in a period of 7 years. In 1980, when Obote came back for the second time, he was told about Idd's behaviors. He also revenged and killed more than 6,000 Idd supporters in the same place. So altogether, Idd Amin and Obote, it is estimated that they killed over 25,000 people in here. The people killed in this place mainly were intellectuals, say the doctors, lawyers, university dons, economists, engineers, and other important citizens of this country like high priests. They never killed women and children, so they were targeting men.
One would ask, why were they looking out for intellectuals and professionals?
Idd Amin thought that with the intellectuals around him, he was not safe in his presidential seat. At times, these people would challenge him. In 1966, when the palace was attacked by Idd Amin on the orders of Obote, in the same year, it was turned into a military base or a military barracks. And the palace is so big because the palace grounds covers 264 acres of land. This is very big. So it turned into, they used to call it marire. Marire means a loot. It's a Swahili word. So they had even other stores apart from this.
The chamber is one of the most preferred tourist attractions in the Buganda Kingdom.
It hurts us because we also suffered of the Second World War, and the First World War was in Belgium, fighting in Belgium. And so we know what these places are. We have them in Europe too, the torture rooms and the torture camps. So it doesn't feel very well when we enter this place. And we know what your leaders did before. I hope now you have the good ones and still becomes better and better in the future, I hope. Because of power, that's the big problem. They wanted power, money and power. You see now in the world is the same thing is happening in all the countries. You see Trump, you see Putin, you see Erdogan, you see everybody in the world now. They only want power. And they don't care about the people. They only care about themselves. And that's very bad. We didn't learn about this place. I didn't know that exists here, but we made the tour with the tourist leader, tourist guide, and he told us about this place. So we wanted to see that place. It's very interesting. It's history. It's part of the history of your country, of Uganda. Huh? And you cannot forget this. You may never forget these things. Huh? And you have to learn about these things for the future. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Huh? We have been to Lake Mboro, to Bwindi, we have visited Murchison Falls, we have been to Kidepo. A very strong culture you have. Huh? We have seen the Karamajong people, we have seen the Ik people in the north, on the border of South Sudan. It's a very, very interesting country you have. And I think the tourist places are very good organized also. I, yeah, I wonder because I visit a lot of countries in Africa, especially in West Africa, but this country is good organized for the tourism. Yeah, you have very good places to stay, to sleep, very good lodges, and yeah, not so expensive. So we will recommend your country. My name is Wim from Belgium.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's terrible what happened here. Yeah. Um, we've been through whole Uganda and I found it very beautiful land. I like the people very much. They are very friendly. So it was very nice to be in Uganda.
Buganda Heritage and Tourism Board, it has many products. I mean, we sell to international visitors, both local and international visitors. So this is one of the it's one of the products that we sell, and we find out that it attracts many people, because international visitors have read about the torture chambers and Idd Amin. You find that most of the international visitors have read about Idd Amin, like in the guidebooks. So when they come here, they really believe what the books say. Chambers and Idd Amin. You find that most of the international visitors have read about Idd Amin, like in the guidebooks. So when they come here, they really believe what the books say.